Good morning, lovely people. How are you all doing today? I hope you're well. Well, actually, by the time you see this, it'll be good evening. Good evening, everybody. How are you? I'm okay. I look a little bit dishevelled. I am so tired this morning because, yay, I was so determined to get finished last night. I was up late sewing to finish the lavender bags. I think I was mentioning in that last video, if I took one whole day, yeah, get them done in time, get them done in a day, no problem. But of course I've been doing them around other things. And yeah, I was determined to get them finished yesterday so that I can get them photographed and put in the shop and on sale today, which hopefully they will be by about 8 o'clock this evening, I'm hoping. But my goodness, I put my needle back in the needle case at about 5 minutes to midnight. I guesstimated it got to about 8:30. I don't know how many I had left to do. And I thought, at the rate I'm going, it's going to be midnight. Not a bad guess, 5 to midnight. Anyway, yes. Oh, they're all done. Oh my goodness, this smell is so strong. Wow. Oh, they're really, really strong. Done. You know, it's funny. I just got through them last night. They're all over there in my window in a big sort of case, waiting for me to photograph. And as I was piling them in, I went this morning and had a little look at them, and they're so lovely. And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to be sad to see them go. I mean, I've made them in order for them to go. But it's funny, I've spent so much time with them in the last 2 weeks. It feels like every single one of them, every bit of pattern. Sorry, my eye, there's something in my eye. Is it a hair? Is it one of my own hairs? Blink, blink, blink. Yeah, it feels like I'm so familiar with every single pattern, every colour. They're already like old friends. So yeah, on the one hand, I'll be sad to see them go, but on the other hand, good, they're done. That means I can move on to the next thing. Yay! No stopping. Hopefully, the next thing is going to be some garden time this week, because it looks like, I don't want to jinx it, because the weather forecasting has been rubbish recently, but it looks like 3 dry days. That's better. I had to attend to this eye. Little teeny tiny bit of hair in it. Yeah, 3 dry days, woohoo! The first of which I think is going to be really quite cold. That's okay, I can do some physical stuff. I just want to get back out there because, oh, goodness me, I mean, February has been so wet. And obviously January and February were a bit on the low down for the garden anyway, just because I'm still feeling really tired. But, you know, getting a bit better every single day. So yes, hopefully some garden time, and then, well, I can launch into all that other stuff I was mentioning in the other video. I won't go back over that ground again, but the main thing is, where have I put it? Yeah, lavender bags, done. Ah, hallelujah. It's really, I think one of the reasons it feels so great is because I've touched on this a little bit before, but the thing with, say, gardening, I'm quite a bit OCD. I'm quite sort of methodical, organised, list making, steps and stages, all that sort of thing. And I like completing things. I'm a bit of a completionist. And, you know, life's never done, we're never done. But I think things like with the garden, because you never get to a stage with a garden where you say, right, I'm done. Yay! You can finish a certain stage. So, for instance, I might think with, say, the bed prep, but the garden list, on my list, even if I finish the bed prep, by then there'll be all sorts more on the list, such as planting out, building structures, etc., etc., etc. So it's never done. I can never sort of close the book and say, brilliant, sit back. That's fine, that's the nature of gardening. But also my nature as a completionist is nice sometimes to complete a project and be done. Yay! So yeah, chuffed about that. Now let's have a little catch up on a few things. There were some things I was going to talk about in that video the other day, but oh my goodness, it turned into a long one, but thank you so much for your response to it. You all seem to really enjoy just hanging out with me, and loads of you reported back on the sort of sewing, knitting, crafting that you were doing, bracelet making, all sorts of things going on. Oh, I've forgotten your name, sorry, but there was a woman who hadn't done any knitting for years and has just picked up knitting again after, was it a 30-year gap, to make a little cardigan or jacket of something for her brand new grandson, who's a little preemie. I think was he 10 weeks early, so he'll be a tiny wee little soul at the moment. So lots of love and good wishes to all of you. Hoping he puts on, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? All of you who've ever been a mum or been an auntie or have ever been around newborns will know that kind of fascination with watching the weight go on. And there's always that kind of moment a few days after birth when it seems baby is losing weight and then they start gaining. And with preemies, oh my goodness, it's measured in grams, but every tiny gram of weight they put on is cause for celebration. So I hope you're doing a little bit of celebrating every single day. When I was a student nurse, I worked in the neonatal intensive care unit with really tiny, an amazing story of survival, actually, was a pair of twins born at 23 weeks. It was unbelievable. But anyway, it was an amazing experience, amazing time, but I was terrified the whole time. I was terrified because I've got huge, great hands. I'm a little bit clumsy anyway. And I just thought, like, literally every time I had to handle one of these, they're handled so little. But every time I had to handle one of them, turn or whatever, I was terrified I was going to break it. So, yeah, neonatal nursing was not for me. Not even particularly baby nursing. Give me the little toddlers who are starting to be cheeky. Anyway, that's a big digression. So, yeah, one of the things I was going to talk about, I'm just going to touch on it very quickly now, was that it occurred to me in the last couple of days, because we are coming out of winter now. I think we've had the meteorological spring has started because we're into March, but I kind of don't think of spring as until towards the end of March. But it occurred to me that this winter I haven't had my S.A.D, seasonal affective disorder. And I mentioned this, I think it was not going into this winter that we've just had, but the winter before, how the previous winter to that, so 2 winters ago, I'd gotten really quite depressed at times, horribly so, utterly miserable. And so the winter before the one we've just had, I don't know how to explain it. I'd made an active decision to try to be aware of that and to, recognise it but not panic and say to myself, okay, these feelings, it's purely because it's winter, get outside, find some brightness, distract yourself, whatever it is, you'll get through it, it's not the end of the world. So a mindset change. And that helped last winter. And I certainly, I got down at times, but not like I had the previous winter was awful. But yeah, a few days ago, I was thinking, I really haven't had one of those awful crashing down moments this winter at all. Yay! Over the years, people have said to me, buy one of those S.A.D lamps. And I've never got round to it. It's always that thing with me. I just don't want to spend money if I don't have to. Don't necessarily have it to spend, but I've not ever managed to sort myself out to buy one. And maybe I've got just enough willpower to do without. There's been a lot of time this winter where I think part of what it was is I really embraced the coziness of being at home this year. So instead of begrudging not being able to be outside and enjoy myself in the garden, I just really relished the time off the garden and the time to be at home doing all my decluttering. I mean, there wasn't much to declutter, but just a jolly good sort out, a proper nesting session. I've been nesting for months. It's going to be a bit of a shock to my poor old system, isn't it? My muscles are going to be shocked when I make them really, really kick in and start working in the garden. But yeah, I just wanted to share that I have had S.A.D for years, and I've had it really badly at times. But that slight mental attitude shift, that sort of real kind of stay aware of it, seems to have helped me, so it might help some of you too. What has also helped has been lovely post bags, lovely post overtime. I've got to share this with you, this is so funny. A letter arrived a couple of days ago, and I promptly quick, get it open, I want to have a read. Yay, thank you Nancy. It was Nancy's letter. Lovely, it just transported me. And I read her letter in one of my designated quiet moments in the day, and it was so lovely because I could transport myself to what she was describing. She's talking about the birds on her property. Lovely. But haven't seen one of these for years. She has found an old stash of aerograms. Hands up if you remember using aerograms. I've got lots of friends all over the world, and ages and ages and ages ago used to use aerograms, but realised they're too small for me to write on, because my length of letters is like my length of videos. I write really, really long letters. I might write a letter over the course of a week, just keep adding to it, adding to it, adding to it. Anyway, yeah, aerograms. Haven't seen one for years. Didn't realise that this was one, so where I'd ripped it open, I don't know if you can see this, you can see, I had to sellotape it back together because that's the body of the letter. Completely massacred. So as I kind of did the first rip, I wasn't kind of paying attention, but then as I got halfway through ripping, as the little flap of rip was coming up, I could see writing on it, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's an aerogram, I should have cut it around the sides. And anyway, so not funny, I haven't seen one for years. Lovely, 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 lovely. I also had a parcel arrive. I don't know who it's from. The note inside said, it's a treat from a YouTube fan. Was it you? It's been so weird. It was a gift of, it's some laundry liquid and laundry conditioner. It's a plant-based one, but it's got a scent. It's really highly scented. Now, my normal laundry liquid doesn't have a scent, particularly. And also, I haven't used fabric conditioner for years. Fabric conditioner and aerograms, they disappeared from my life years ago. I just use a slug of white vinegar for my rinse cycle. So my clothes come out, they just smell like fresh air. They don't have any smell. But this laundry liquid and conditioner are really highly scented. It's very pleasant, very sort of floral scent. And I did the first load of washing in them, hung them around the place to dry, and I got a few bits on the radiator, and then, oh my goodness, trying not to have the heating on. I'm sure you're all the same prices. But I think I had the heating off about half an hour just to take the edge off. And of course, that made the scent release. I was like, what's that smell? And I've got my oil burner on the top of my bureau there. I was like, it almost had an ylang-ylang scent, which I do sometimes use in my burner, but I knew I'd run out of ylang-ylang, I've run out of geranium. The only oils I've got at the moment are, I've got some lemongrass and some frankincense that Richard and Paul have given me over the last couple of Christmases. And then I remembered, oh, it's the laundry. And then again, a few days later, there was an occasion when, where is it, you know, putting my handkerchief to my nose, smelling it, but also just, oh, it's my clothes. I was thinking, have I put perfume on today? Anyway, so whoever you are, thank you. That's a lovely treat. It was kind of, I opened the box and I thought, that's a really random thing to send me. Laundry liquid and fabric conditioner. So random. And then I get it now that it's a treat because it's sort of flowers. It's filled my home with the smell of flowers. How cute. On the word of treats, because it is a treat, I'm going to touch on this in one of the low spend year videos. So you know I do my treats for a tenner before Christmas. But that's kind of, you know, I tend to keep treats on a bit of a low key thing. But the other day, the treat police are coming for me. I've had too many treats. A Sunday morning, someone's creating mischief somewhere. I've mentioned this a couple of times now. When I leave my flat, 2 doors down there's a little coffee shop. It's a lovely little place, really tiny. It's quite narrow. It's quite kind of dark and cosy in there. It's sort of like a bare wood floor, bare wood tables, mismatched chairs. Are the walls clad in wood as well? I can't remember. But it's really dark and cosy in there. Literally, it's 2 doors down from my flat. So when I leave my house to go to either the post office or the shops or the garden, I walk past it. I mean, I probably walk past it every single day. And there's a table in the window, and I would guess that, I don't know, at least once a week, one of my friends is sitting in that table in the window having a coffee. So invariably, I mean, it's the place is so narrow that I can kind of stick my head through the front door and the table's right there and say, hello, how are you? Sometimes, you know, stop for a chat. Excuse me, I feel really dry mouth today. Yeah, sometimes it's a brief, hello, how are you? And sometimes I'll go in and sit and chat for 10 minutes or so and then get on my way. And more often than not, it's my mate Gary is sitting in there. So I'll always go and sort of have a quick chat. Anyway, so the other day I went in, I went to go to the post office. Gary's in there, so I thought, you know, pop my head around, hello, go in, plonk myself down at his table. And I always say to the staff are really lovely, they're really chilled out. There's only usually 1 or 2 staff around. It's a very quiet little place. They'll come over and ask me what I'd like to order, and I always say, oh, I'm not stopping. Is it okay? Do you mind if I just sit and chat for a minute? Because, I mean, otherwise it'd be a bit rude, wouldn't it, to sit in someone's establishment and not have anything. But yeah, I hadn't seen Gary for a little while. He's been up to staff, I've been up to staff, and it's like, oh, actually I could really do with a good natter. There's something else to mention in a second. I had loads to tell him, he had loads to tell me, so we were chatting and he took a slurp on his coffee, and I suddenly thought, you know what? I'm going to do something I haven't done for the longest time. I can't remember when. Certainly way before lockdown, way before that. I'm going to order myself a drink. I know, it's the silliest thing, isn't it? So I had an oaty milk hot chocolate. Oh, I think it was £2.50, which, I mean, it's such a lot of money. It's one of those things where if a neighbourhood friend said, you know, let's get together for a chat, I'd say, come up to the flat. I'll make you a drink for free in my kitchen. It seems silly to pay someone else to make a drink, but it was just one of those moments. We were chatting, and I thought, why not? I had £2.50 in my purse. Treat myself. Oh, it was so good. I had a big frothy tash going on. Oh, it was so lovely. You know, if I did that every week of the year, it wouldn't have been nearly so great. But when it's such an infrequent treat, it makes it glorious. Anyway, there I was on my way to the post office. I ended up nattering in there for, I think it was probably a bit over an hour. It's great. By the time I got to the post office, all their computers had frozen. They couldn't do any business, so I had to come home. I could have popped back into the cafe, the coffee shop, couldn't I? Had another chocolate. Anyway, yeah, what a lovely treat. Great catch up. Lovely to have a treat. And I had another treat this week. The lovely Richard and Paul came over for the day. Oh, great. And I kind of felt a bit sorry for them because I don't think I didn't stop talking at them. There's been so much going on, and, you know, I don't see them that often. Last time I saw them was New Year's. It's like, let me tell you. Really excited to see them. Anyway, yeah, it was really lovely, and they were absolute sweethearts, total sweethearts. Bearing in mind that I'm still really struggling with energy, really tired, and just, I am being sensible and pacing myself. I know that staying up till midnight sewing was probably not the most sensible thing I've done in the last few weeks. That's fine, I'll rest later today. But bearing that in mind, because normally they come over, I cook for them. When we were arranging for them to come over, they said, by the way, we're bringing lunch. Oh, it's just, I can't tell you what a relief. Not only lunch, but also they did all the washing up. Well, did Richard do all the washing up? Paul, did you do any washing up? I don't think you did you? Anyway, Paul had made a lentil and vegetable soup, and it was blended, and it was, oh my goodness, it was so thick and creamy. You could have stood your spoon up in it. It was gorgeous. And he also made some bread rolls. I didn't have a bread roll with my soup, but then later on, oh, itchy toe, after they'd gone, I toasted one of the bread rolls with some of the other stuff they brought. They brought me lunch that was cooked. Oh, and then Richard had made an apple and sultana crumble and custard. No, it's all gorgeous. And some of his fantastic shortbread biscuits. They've all gone. It's only 3 days ago. Whole tin of shortbread biscuits. But also, oh, thank you so much, a hamper with some gorgeous, a few veggies, but masses of fruit. Apples and oranges. I haven't had an orange since, I mean, I had the satsumas in the lead up to Christmas, but the last orange I had was about 2 years ago. And pears, I can't remember the last time I had pears. And this, oh my goodness, a fruit which I can hand on heart say I haven't had in 20 years. The last time I had this fruit was in my previous flat. I've been in this flat now just over 18 years. It was December 2003 I moved in, so it was that last flat, so it's at least 18 and a bit years ago. A pineapple! I mean, I know you know what it is, I don't need to say what it is, but it's a pineapple! Oh, I can't wait. I was saying to the chaps that they brought so much beautiful fruit. I mean, never mind fruit basket, it was a fruit skip that I might do a 3-day fruit fast. I haven't had a fruit fast for ages. It's been wonderful to have so much fruit again, as I kind of made that decision that I was going to, you know, treat myself when I came out of hospital to have fruit and part of the convalescence. But after I've gone through all the chaps' fruit, that'll be it on fruit for a while, because it is expensive. So yeah, I mean, hot chocolate out, masses of fruit, lunch cooked and washed up. I feel like I should have a tiara on, because surely I am Princess Vivi with all that going on, and my clothes smelling so lovely, and the lovely letter from Nancy. Yeah, it's all been fab. Now, what else did I want to catch you up on? Oh yeah, just randomly. When was the last time we talked about any of this? I think it must have been around Christmas time or so. I rarely sit down to watch a film. Rarely. But do you remember I'd had a few DVDs I picked up, I don't know when, don't know where, anyway, that I'd started to have a little watch of. There was one which was total rubbish, straight to the charity shop. And the other day I was in the charity shop and I was having a look through their DVD section, and I saw the rubbish Paris Je t'aime. Yeah, odd collection of shorts. But the other one I'd watched, Bridges of Madison County. Don't watch it. It's a migraine-inducing film because you end up crying so hard you get a migraine. Anyway, I've watched a couple of films recently, and they've both been on my radar for years. I mean, years and years and years. And I've watched them because, sorry, slurpy slurp. Like I said, I have been really trying to pace myself, and I found that, you know, sort of 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm really done for. And there've been a couple of afternoons where I haven't even felt like reading, just sort of the effort of holding the book up and actually doing the reading. So I found a couple of films to watch. The first one was 84 Charing Cross Road. Oh, I mean, could it be a more perfect film for me? Set in a bookshop here in London. It doesn't exist. No, it doesn't exist. There is that bookshop. It wasn't filmed at 84 Charing Cross Road. 84 Charing Cross Road is it still a bookshop? The Charing Cross Road bookshop? I haven't been up to Charing Cross Road for ages. I mean, years. Charing Cross Road used to be our road with all the antiquarian book dealers on it. But you know, over the years, especially in recent years, with the advent of so much internet buying, the one thing I would say with buying books on the internet, if you find a book, please don't use Amazon. Amazon is killing businesses. If you see a book on Amazon, see who the dealer is. And I'm not talking about these big, massive things like World of Books, but individual dealers. Then come off Amazon and go to that individual dealer's website. Get it from that individual dealer. Anyway, I don't know if the bookshops are all still there or not. Anyway, back to the film. Gorgeous. I loved it. There's something about Anthony Hopkins' performances that I always feel that there's a sort of inner sadness there. Right from the start of the film, there's a sort of a nostalgia and a wistfulness about the whole thing. There's a sort of a melancholy to it. It is quite a melancholic feeling film, but it's so beautiful, and it was the perfect watch for me. So I'm sure all of you, like with Bridges of Madison County, I'm sure all of you, except for one person maybe, have already seen it. But if you haven't already, do have a look. Then the other film I watched was absolutely not what I was expecting at all. I mean, you've heard me mention I've got books on the shelf about it. I've talked often about wild swimming and the joy of swimming. Actually, when I say wild swimming, I should probably say wild bobbing. I just like to get in water, wild water. I just like to be in it. I'm not one of these people who plows off at 10 knots an hour doing the most perfect, crawl. Just the act of getting into the water and being in it. Anyway, so this film has been on my radar for ages, as I say. It's The Swimmer. Again, I'm sure many of you have seen it. But for those of you who haven't, it was made, I made some notes, was it made in 1968? It's Burt Lancaster. Okay, it is surreal. The premise, and this is all I knew about the film beforehand. The premise is, it's a guy on his way home from work and he swims home from work using the neighbourhood pools. So I thought, well, yeah, of course I'm going to want to watch that. It's about swimming, being in water. That's kind of not what it's about. I mean, he happens to do that. I kept thinking, I was even saying it out loud at some point, so I was like, what was the writer smoking when he wrote that film? I mean, I think it really is of its time. It's just, oh, I don't know how to put it. It's really odd. And I mean, I just didn't understand what what it was about, and seemed to be, the whole film, it seems to, you can feel that there's a downward spiral going on. It's not right. So, you know, to start with, the character seems really charming and lovely, and sunshine and the water, and I think it's set in September, so it's that feeling of that heat of the summer has gone, but the brightness is still there. And anyway, yeah, it goes on this downward spiral, and actually I found it a bit depressing. But also with the character, I think what's really interesting is there was a moment, perhaps halfway through the film, when something happened and I thought, oh, that was horrible. Oh, now I don't like him. But then it quickly switched back to him being very charming, and I thought, oh, have I misunderstood that? Have I misread it completely? And I've put maybe, say, my modern eyes on. It's a moment with a younger girl, and I immediately thought, oh no, that's wrong. But then because it goes back to being charming, I sort of thought, oh, maybe I misread that, like I said, and put my modern take onto it. But it turns out, you know, I don't think I'm giving anything away. I think many of you will have seen the film, but, you know, he is a flawed character. And the further we get into this film and the further down that spiral we go, we realise, actually, there's parts of him that are pretty despicable. Anyway, yeah, it was, what did I write? I wrote a couple of little words. The other thing about it is that although there is a linear narrative in so much as he's swimming home, the downward spiral, it doesn't feel very, how to put it, there isn't a clear sort of beginning, middle and end. The way it starts, we don't know, it just starts. It's like, where did he come from? What's going on? It's like, I've written in capital letters, what is going on? In a nutshell, I wrote about this film: surreal, downward spiral, depressing, love-hate character, what is going on, of its time. And I questioned, would it be made now? Would today's audience want to watch that film? Would today's audience go to the cinema to watch that film? I don't know whether we would. Maybe a sort of like a little independent art house place. Like I said, because in terms of a plot, there really isn't a plot. It's almost like the plot has already happened and we're seeing the fallout of the plot. I think that's the best way to put it. We're seeing the fallout of the plot. So, yeah, I'm glad I've seen it now. It's like whenever I've read a book that I don't particularly like, I'm glad always to have had the opportunity to read it. I'm glad I've had the opportunity to see that film now, because now I'm not curious about it. But yeah, I wonder if it's one of those films, now that I've seen the whole thing, to watch it again. No, it's like that film. What was that film? I can't think now. Oh, I can't think. It's that one with Bruce Willis and the little boy. And one of them, I can't remember which one, but one of them is a ghost. And then you think, oh, now if I watch it again, it'll make sense. But then if you watch it again knowing that the kid... Is it the kid or the man that's... One of them's a ghost. If you watch it again knowing that one of them is a ghost, it'll kind of spoil your pleasure of the film. Or it would just be like watching a different film. Anyway, digressing. So yeah, it's been nice to watch a couple of films. What else has been going on? Yeah, sewing. I've got a few more bits to go in the shop. Otherwise, it's just me sort of getting back to... I suddenly feel a bit chilly. I've been doing that thing, like I mentioned, of... I'm just going to chuck this around my shoulders, of putting the heating on for half an hour first thing, to take the worst of the chill off. And if we start to get a bit more sunshine again, honestly, it's been so grey and drizzly. If we start to get a bit of sunshine again, as soon as I get the sun on that front window, it really helps to warm, well, the whole flat, it's just this room anyway. It really helps to warm things up. But we just haven't had that weather at all. But we are due some sunshine this week. Yay! Oh, can't wait to get outside again. Quite a lot to do in the garden. Quite a lot of it's quite boring though. I'll bring you along. I'll bring you along just in case I do something that I think you might want to see. But that's all for next week. For now, the fact that I'm getting a little bit chilly, I think I need to start moving around, doing stuff again. Go and get all those gorgeous lavender bags photographed. Sorry, whoever gets this one, it's been against my face. Got a little tiny bit of my DNA on it. Don't try and grow me in a Petri dish. Yes, let me get on with sorting all the lavender bags out so that they will hopefully be in the shop by, let's say about 8 o'clock this evening. That's GMT, 8 o'clock Londonian time. But in the meantime, yeah, I'm going to toddle off now, get moving around, get warmed up a bit, and say cheerio to you all for now. And I will see you hopefully in the week in the garden. Until then, please look after yourselves, look after each other, be kind to one another. Bye for now.